Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 6 of OG and the B. Obviously, today's a little different because OG decided to leave me and go to Florida. How's everything in Florida?
I'm scouting potential Rutgers teams for March Madness. That's what I'm doing. I'm down here looking at Florida Atlantic, University of Florida, Florida State. That's what's going on. All for these guys. But it's beautiful. Look at this weather.
Yep, can't
Can't
beat it.
wait. No, very nice. How about you? How we doing up in Jersey there? What kind of temperature
Um,
you got?
yeah, the temperatures have risen a little bit, so it's not as cold as it's been, but I'm kind of salty about it.
Ah, not as bad as it was when we went to the garden, huh?
No, no. So yeah, speaking of, let's just get right into it. Rutgers is ranked 24th in the state after their win against Michigan State in the Madison Square Garden. Yeah.
Should be higher, but at this point, who cares? They should probably be like 20th or 19th. How the heck does Indiana get ranked ahead of them? And Rutgers whooped Indiana. So I
Yep.
don't get these ratings. It's also political. It's voting. It's writers that don't even know Rutgers. It doesn't mean anything at this point. So who cares?
Yeah, well, that might change soon after we beat Indiana. So we'll speak
Exactly.
too soon.
Yeah. Let's see
Um,
how high they are after this.
But yeah, I mean, you and I went there with the family. It was incredible. Madison Square Garden holds 20,000 people. There was about 15,000 attendees, and I would say about 85% were Rutgers fans. So it was a huge sea of red. And yeah, so that's double the amount that the rack would hold, and that's 100% all Rutgers fans, majority of the time. So I mean, now double the Rutgers fans in the arena was just incredible. For me, I'm
Awesome.
so glad that I was able to experience that. It was unlike any other. But you, on the other hand, have a more personal, sentimental place in your heart
History.
with that arena. So, how did that feel for you to be back in the place that you played when you were in college?
It was awesome. I mean, what an experience, and to go there with the family, which was awesome. To sit there and just go, oh my God, look, that's where I played several times, and but never to a crowd like that. That's the one thing. I've been to Knick games when the Knicks were rocking, and that place is full of nothing but Knick fans,
Hmm.
and it gets crazy. Of course, I was on the floor looking up at the stands when we played, and we never packed it that big. I mean, we had inner city rivals. It would be Fordham, Manhattan. It would be we played Lafayette. We played Kansas. We played God, who else was there? Brown, the Ivy League team, and there would be a couple of games. It would only be that first bowl would be full. But this, as you and I both looked, the upper levels were packed
Yeah.
and all red, which was so cool. It was so cool. And I think this is another one that we put in like a kind of a bucket list thing that not everybody gets to experience. Your school,
Hmm.
players that we know and really like and care about out there, and to cap it with a victory. Ah, you can't get much better than that.
Absolutely. I mean, the only thing I could say to the guys was after the game was that how many people in this world can say, I won at Madison Square Garden? Like, that is just such a memorable thing that they'll never forget.
Exactly. And also with the home kind of feel, home crowd feel, to be able to go to somewhat of a neutral court and yet see all your fans there. That's a whole nother mindset for the
Yeah.
team because you're used to it at the rack. Oh yeah, we walk in, there it is. But then you go somewhere else, another arena, and you see nothing but your fans. It's got to really hit your heartstrings.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So let's get into the game a little bit. Again, I say intense, I think every podcast, but that's really what this team makes every game just so intense. I think within the first 10 minutes, the
Yeah.
score was only 5-6, something so low. And it's like every possession counts, every shot counts. What did you see in the first half?
Well, as we kind of heard and talked about, this was a rock fight. This was a rumble in the garden. This was a dog fight. Just nobody was winning. It was just beat, fight, hard play, missed a lot of shots, both teams. It reminded me of Seton Hall game at the rack. Remember, that was very similar. Low scoring, tough. A 3-point lead was like a 10-point lead. I mean, it was just really, really two teams going at it hard, a lot of pressure, a lot of emotion, and a lot of missed shots.
Yeah.
And we were down, what, 6 at the half? Um,
Yeah.
it felt like 15,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh my God. But obviously things changed. I also saw that Tyson Walker was, off and running. I think he had about 8 or 9 points out of 26, which, was a lot. A lot of them were key baskets. And I
Mhm.
heard people behind us yelling, get Caleb on him, switch Caleb on him. Well, going in at 6 at the half, it didn't feel good, but look what happened in the second half. Who was guarding Walker right
Right.
off the bat? It was like Michael heard everybody. And when
Exactly.
Caleb get on Walker and shut him down,
Mhm.
the blanket, right? We we saw the cheers, the banners. Caleb's got a new nickname, and I think it sticks because he literally blanketed Tyson Walker. But
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the first half, I think their defense needed a little pick me up. I felt like their energy was a little low at some times, but I mean,
good
not
point.
to forget the point that in the 11th minute, Mawat's out, and then we unfortunately see him out for the entirety of the game. And he is such a key point in their defensive plays that they really, I think, realized during halftime, okay, now we really need to step it up, not only on the offensive side, but on the defensive side as well, because
That's a
he's
good point.
um, so yeah, I think coming into the second half, defense definitely stepped up. Caleb had 4 steals. Paul gets all 17 points in the second half
Oh, awesome half
with
for Paul.
3 steals as well. Cliff, 15 points he ended with, and
Double
rebounding,
double.
double
Yeah, he had a
double.
double double.
Yeah, so I think they were definitely a second half team that game.
No, you're so right. And the Mawat injury, again, for a team with a guy so integral to the team, especially Rutgers, which is probably the second or third best defense efficiency in the country. He's a key defender, part of that glue. When you as a teammate see someone that important go down, it brings your kind of energy down. It's like, oh, and then even though you fill it in with a capable player in Andre Hyatt, it's a different, energy. It's a different
Hmm.
defender. It's a different feel when you're on the court. And that also hurt and was a big reason why it went from a tight 1 point here or there to down 6 at the
Yeah.
half. It was because Mawat was out, and you're right, the energy kind of even dropped more than initially was there. So, right, second half was a completely different. The biggest thing for me was, well, two things. One was the defense right away came out, and Caleb on Walker, he disappeared for the whole second half. I think Caleb let him peek out from under the blanket with about a minute to go in the game, and then Walker hit a couple of shots when it didn't even matter, but he put the clamps on him. Um, Caleb hit that big three. We were down
Right.
1 or 2. I think it was 1. We were just catching up. We came back from that 6. We caught up. I think we were down even 8 or at one point, but we came back, closed it to 1. Paul drives, kicks out to Caleb. Perfect shot. Boom, 3-pointer. We're up 2 now. And you could just see the gas go out of Michigan State,
Hmm.
because here's a team that was up 8 in this rock fight, in this dog fight. Now they're down 2. So that 3 was huge, monumental for that second half. And then Paul, he took over like we have seen Gio and Ron do in the past.
Hmm.
Game's on the line. Gio's just taking it to the hole, making those layups. Ron turned into Gio there in the second half, as well
Paul.
as, like you said, Paul. I'm sorry. Paul turned into Gio, made a couple of real nice drive layups. Caleb came in. He had 9 points all in the second half. He was driving to the hoop, getting fouls. That put them in the bonus. all that stuff added up was going to the hole. Paul, Caleb, Cliff rebounding, defense. It was a great second half. And again, it capped just a great day for the school and for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't be happier. Can't, again, it's something that they'll never forget, but I will never forget either.
Yeah, exactly. You and your sister, Rutgers students, alumni for yourself. It is something you will never forget because to be able to go to a house 20,000 seats and see nothing but your school represented,
Hmm.
it's awesome. And again, capped off with a victory. It's
Exactly.
the best way to put that cherry on top.
Yeah.
So good for you. Good for you. I'm proud and glad you got to experience
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
that.
so we have a couple important topics in the sports world coming up. So let's just wrap up Rutgers men's basketball with a little talk about Indiana.
Okay.
Thoughts, comments, concerns? Trace Jackson has been on a roll. Now they're going to Assembly Hall. He has not beat Caleb McConnell in his entire career. They haven't beat Rutgers in the past 6 or 7 games it is. So, I mean, I think there's, again, a lot riding on this game. Indiana and Rutgers have slowly become almost like distant competitors, rivalries. So, what are we
Yeah.
thinking?
I'm thinking this is going to be the toughest game that Rutgers has played Indiana since the streak. I
Yeah.
think it's 6 in a row now. And obviously, it does continually get harder by natural numbers and odds and events. So that Indiana's got to win one sooner or
They're
later.
highly favored. I think it's like 35 to 65%.
Yeah, I think it's a 4 point
4 points, it is.
spread. And I mean, that's not that big. I actually thought it might have been a little more, but four is total respect for Rutgers and its defense. But yeah, I think this absolutely is the toughest of the six in Caleb's streak against Trace Jackson. But yeah, I'm optimistically nervous for a number of reasons. One, that Mawat's not going to play. I know we're not sure about when he's going to rejoin, but it doesn't look like he's going to be playing. Um, Maybe he'll surprise us and show up. I don't know. We haven't heard anything, so maybe Pike is keeping that one under his under
Hmm.
Caleb's blanket. He's keeping it with Caleb under the blanket. But that's a concern of mine. Indiana on a high after beating Purdue could go either way. Are they now? Oh, we beat the best, number one, and now here comes Rutgers, boom, and punches them in the face, and back to reality. But I don't know. This is going to be a coin flip for me. I'm optimistic that we can get it. I hope it's a 1 or 2 possession game down at the end. That's all we can ask for is keep it tight, and then anything can happen. But it is on the road. It is Assembly Hall. It's going to be packed. It's going to be screaming fans like any other home crowd. And we don't or might not have a full Mawat, and that concerns me. But hey, this is step up time. Andre Hyatt step up. Caleb step up, do more. Paul put in another second half. Cliff dominate this game. And Cam, please show up like you had against Northwestern, against Purdue. If Cam has one of those games, this can be a victory. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. If he did what he did against Northwestern, just going back to back with the threes, he's unstoppable. So I think that would definitely help the offensive side. And I mean, he's a great defender as well. So I think he picks up a little bit in that area. And with no Mowat, they should be good.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that's always good about a team that plays great defense like Rutgers, one of the top 2 or 3 in the country, is you've heard it before, defense travels. So when you can defend, you don't have to put the ball in the hoop. That's the hard part. That's the part that gets in your head is, oh, I'm shooting and this crowd is screaming. That's what changes things a little bit. And boom, 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 they go out. They go out. That does not travel. You can go to an arena that you as a shooter just don't feel it. You're off.
Yeah.
But defense, you can play that anywhere. You can take those 5 guys and put them on a court in Harlem, New York, in the freezing cold, that defensive team has the advantage because you get locked in, you play defense anywhere. Doesn't matter about the crowd, doesn't matter about the ball going in and out. Defense travels. So that will always favor a team like Rutgers. And that's what should keep them in this game. And throughout the Big Ten tournament, March Madness, which we now know is pretty much a lock, defense travels. And that's what Rutgers has.
Correct.
So cross your fingers tonight. Let's go.
All right, moving on. Kyrie Irving leaving the Brooklyn Nets, going to the Mavericks. It was no surprise Kyrie Irving had not been getting along with the GM of the Nets. What's his name?
Escapes me. I know the owner. I know the owner, Tsai, Tsai.
Yeah, the Tsai. Yeah,
and he wasn't happy with him as much as any GM. Tsai did not like. Actually, called Kyrie in when he did that post about the Jewish community, anti-Semitic. Yeah, that was Joe Tsai brought him in.
He is actually who I'm referring to because they've had Twitter battles. You know, they publicly announced that they are not friends. So
yeah, more so than any. Yeah.
That he wanted out, and he requested not too long ago to get me out of here. And before we know it, he's about to team up with Luka Doncic and hopefully make some magic happen. So yeah, he's finishing up his contract, which is about a 6-month period that the Mavericks will have him, right?
Yep.
So yeah, he had a 4-year contract for $86 million. And if you do the math,
2-year contract for 86.
Apologies, two-year. If you do the math, the 6 months equate to $23 million. So as you had mentioned, when we were speaking privately, he's being rented for 6 months for $23 million. That is just insane. Insane.
It is. It is. But, this is a good deal for both teams when you think of it, because even though Kyrie wanted out, the Nets wanted him out.
Right.
So that's a good divorce. Both people want out of this thing. And if they both stayed in, the Nets lose. So if anything, Kyrie helped them by maybe pushing, get me out of here. Because if the Nets held on to him through the end of the contract, he's a free agent. And guess how much the Nets get then?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try to put the zero by a boat.
Yeah, rub it in.
You don't even get the boat. There's no yacht for you. But so that's the issue, that it worked out for both, and everybody complains, this is horrible deals. You were going to get nothing if you held on to them.
Mm-hmm.
But look what you got. I think Spencer Dinwiddie for the Nets is good. He's a former Net, and he can play.
Wait, before you get into that, though, let's break down what each party received. So the Mavericks received, obviously, Kyrie and Markieff Morris, who had a 1-year contract for $2.9 million. And on the other hand, the Nets received Spencer Dinwiddie, who had a 3-year contract for $55 million. Dorian Finney-Smith, who had a 4-year contract for $55.6 million, a 2027 second-round pick, and a 2029 first and second-round pick.
Wow. So that's 5 players the Nets got, potentially pieces. Let's call it 5 pieces. And the Mavs get 2. The one, of course, is Kyrie, but I guess when they got rid of 2 guys, they just wanted to make it simple. They don't have anybody in their G League that they felt good about bringing up. So it's like, let's bring in Morris. He's probably a better player for them now than any G League player they have. So they were like, no, maybe give us 2 pieces. We lost 2. We need to fill 2 bench spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie being the most important. But I think it works for both teams. I mean, obviously Mavs, as we discussed earlier, it's a win now. And if it is a rental for 6 months, then hey, if it gets us a championship, it was well worth it.
Sure.
There's every team in the NBA would pay $23 million to win a championship right now.
Yeah. If
an owner wouldn't pay that, then there's something wrong with them. They should get out of the business. That's not a bad deal because it comes back, 5-fold. at least,
Mhm.
if you win a championship. 23 million. I would say a championship's worth 100 million. Absolutely. So again, it comes down to business deal. The fan base is energized, and there's a chance they'll get to keep Kyrie by offering him a max contract, which is something the NBA put in years ago to keep players so that they just don't keep jumping ship. So there's a little incentive to stay with the team you're currently under contract with.
Mhm.
So they may get to keep him, and it works out even better for them. For the Nets, they were going to get nothing if they held him through July. So they got Dinwiddie, they got Finney Smith, and they got 3 draft picks down the road, which may really be worth something in 5 years.
Yeah,
4 years. 27, I think, was the first one.
27.
But so yeah, not bad for either team. But I guess what concerns me a little bit is that hint of players running the league again, like you and I talked about. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so as a sport management major, I have looked over the free agency aspect of sports very thoroughly. I did a project on it that you helped me out with. So yeah, I mean that's a huge problem that's rising in the world of sports, specifically basketball, because I do think they have the most say and free range. The number one problem I have with that is it's so hard, like you said, players run the league, but then it's so hard to determine or like have a strong fan base because in the olden days, your days, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, they stayed with the Yankees their entire life. Jeter stayed with the Yankees the entire life. MJ stayed with the Bulls for 14 years. That's a huge portion of your career. These guys, they'll take 1, 2, 3, 4 year contracts, may not even finish them out, and then they're gone. How do you follow like players like that? How do you
Right.
gain fans that way? You never have a solid team. You don't know who's going to be on the team the next year. And it's just it's just hard to have a favorite team. I don't have a favorite team. I don't think I've ever had a favorite team because of this reason. I'll like LeBron, then he's here, then he's there. I liked Kyrie for a minute, but then it's like I don't like a team, I like a player.
Exactly. I think maybe we should like Golden State. They seem to have the biggest core for the
Yeah, yeah,
longest period, right?
agree. No, I totally agree. And with that being said, I do want to make a point that I feel like this was almost a free agency fail because KD went to Golden State after they had already won the championship. He teams up with Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and then they go on to win 2 more championships. I think KD was thinking this would happen again with the Knicks. I mean, with the Nets, teaming up with Kyrie going to the Nets, and then they bring in James Harden to hopefully have one
Oh,
of the most
exactly.
intense offenses win the championship, and that didn't happen. So you see both sides from where this free agency can bring a team.
Yeah, and again, the concern here is that they sign a contract, and the GM, the owner, they think, okay, we're set. We got this guy for 4 years. We got that guy for 5. We got this guy for 3. We're good. And then all of a sudden, after a year, I'm not having fun. I don't like this. We're not really winning. It's not working out the way I thought it would as a
Right.
player. I want out. Trade me. So now the owner, the GM's like, oh Jesus, we've got a child. One of our children is sad, and he wants to leave the family. And what are we going to do? He's going to run away, or he's not going to play. He's so you have a discontent that's not good for the locker room. That's not good for your fan base, and so they control it instead of just look. I signed 4 years. I'm here through thick and thin. That was what it was in the old days. Even with free agency, you still had that loyalty. I signed the contract.
Yeah.
Hey, everything's not going to work out. It's like a child who is saying, "Oh, I am having trouble at school," or this boy, didn't like me, or this, get over it. Come on, this is life. We're not going to quit. We're not going to fix it. Get on with it. Figure it out. The players don't do that anymore. They just go, no, no, I'm ready for bye bye. And as a matter of fact, I want to go and play with LeBron. I want to go
Hmm.
and play with Luca. I want to go and play with KD. I want to go to Golden State. They pick it.
Yep.
So it's the patience of running the asylum. And I don't feel good about that.
Yeah. Well, since Zoom only gives us a limited period of time, we only have 5 minutes left. So let's quickly jump on to the next subject that we would like to hit. Tom Brady is retired. He's done. His
Oh, you
athletic career is
sure?
over. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I
That's what
think
we
he's got one
thought.
more year left.
We
I
thought.
think he's going to surprise us, and I think this could be one of those embarrassing things. I'm just going out on a whim, but it's not a 100 to 1 shot. I think it's like more of a 10 to 1 shot that he's going to play again for 1 year. He's going to pick one team, and he's going to say, "I can win a championship with that team," and he may give it a go. It's so hard for a guy to leave
So
that's
do
on the
you
top
think
of his
that,
game.
but I mean, with the Fox contract that he was offered.
That doesn't start till 24.
Oh, I see.
So that's, I
You're
guess,
the
I'm
most decorated NFL player. You've won 7 Super Bowls. Do you think he just wants to go out with a Super Bowl win? Or I mean, what else? Does he not
I
like
think it's
his
just that
family life?
I think it's just you're so ingrained into the sport, and I mean it's so hard. I know when I hurt my knee, this is how I felt. I didn't want to stop. I mean, I wish I could have finally said, "Okay, I'm done," and I had a great career. But you play for so long, you love a game so much, and you're still doing it so well. It's hard to just go, "Yeah, I'm going to stop here," even though he said it. I'm just not so sure it's going to stick. But let's go real quick the one way. Let's say it sticks. He goes to Fox. God bless him. 37 million a year. I want to hear what he has to say. I'd love to hear his analysis. I'm sure we all would, right? What does Tom
Yeah.
Brady think of the way that quarterback's playing and the way the game is playing? Then we get to hear more about what's in his head, which is cool. Kind of like reading his book, but he's reading it for us every time he announces. So I like that. And on the other hand, I think it would be great if he came back one more year. I'm sure some people would be like that emoji where you go like, "What?" You know. But why not? Let him play one more year. If there's a team out there that he feels he can win a championship with, and he just needs that one more, okay, finally, now I'm done. Let him do it. It would be great to see.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend with a lot of celebrity athletes. Messi did it a couple times, saying I'm retiring, then come back to a club team or one more time with a new team. It could be a publicity thing at this point. Like, why even say it if you possibly will again?
Well, sometimes people have these emotional spikes, or maybe it was one day Tom felt like you saw what he did. He grabbed the video. He went to a
I was
spot
gonna
on near
say,
the
yeah, then
beach.
don't post on Instagram.
It was almost a little odd. Like, okay, hi fans. I'm gonna tell you that
Yeah,
I'm retired.
yeah.
This is just for you. I wanted you to hear it from me. It was a little weird, honestly was.
And then he
But
posts a half naked picture like on vacation or something.
well, that was to get Giselle back, baby. I don't know. He's trying to show like, hey, look, I still got it.
I don't know. Rumor has it he has an OnlyFans.
No. Ooh, creepy. That's creepy. But yeah, it's gonna come sooner or later. Maybe this is it now. I always thought Brady was a little different egg, you know what I mean? And sometimes that's what you have to be as great as he was. You got to
Hmm.
be different. It's not a normal guy that everybody's going to embrace and feel, oh, he's just like me, he's just like you. They don't win 7 championships. They don't play, those guys don't play 20 years. They might win one or two, which is even awesome. This guy won 7.
Yeah.
So he is going to be a little different, let's say, than the rest of us. But I'm still. I may go put a bet in Vegas if I could that he's going to play another year with somebody, and Fox will understand. They're not going to stand in his way. Hey, fine, go do it.
And the offer
Take
still
your.
may stand after.
Oh, absolutely would. I think even Fox feels like they got a steal. They'll
Sure.
pay that. He'll bring that money back to them.
Yeah.
So, well, good for him either way. Good for sports that we have something else to just talk about and discuss, which is always nice.
Yep. Maybe we'll give an update in a couple videos.
And then we'll say you heard it from OG and the B.
Yep. All right. Well, that concludes our podcast for the day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this time. Like and subscribe. Dad, have a great rest of your vacation. I'm holding it down over here.
I'm scouting.
All right.
I'm gonna
Well,
report back to Pike right after this one.
got you. All right.
All
Well,
right.
see you when you get home.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.